Joining us now is African-American author and analyst Vince Everett Ellison. He's author of The Iron Triangle: Inside the Liberal Dem Plan to Use Race to Divide Christians and America in Their Quest for Power and How to Defeat Them. And he's joining us now. Everett Ellison, Vince Everett Ellison. Hey, Vince, great to have you with us.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
We've got just a plethora of things to talk about. Let's start with Black Lives Matter, the BLM movement, and your thoughts on corporate shakedowns. They're getting a lot of money from various big corporations. You look at their website and their manifesto, it's basically Marxism. And one of the things they say on it that really shocked me, Vince, and I really want you to weigh in here, is they want a dissolution of the patriarch family. What the hell's that mean?
Yeah, man, this is what they've been wanting for the last 60 years. Look, in my book, I kind of start my book with this evidence. I talk about what Taylor Branch wrote in his book, Parting the Waters. He said that in 1956, the Communist Party in Moscow ordered that their agents in the civil rights movement to establish a separate national development for the American Negro, and to model it on the Soviet republics. Mm-hmm. You know, he said that, and so what's happened in the black community is that we're the only community in America that has the characteristics of the former Soviet republics. I mean, we have one-party rule, forced compliance, extreme poverty, government dependency, and dictator worship. So this is who they've always been. They've always had this power inside of the black community, and one of the tenets of Marxism, understand this very well, I want your listeners to understand that. Under the tenets of Marxism, individuals do not possess any inherent value. People are merely a tool to achieve the ends of the collective, period. So they don't care anything about black people. They care about their ends. And their ends are taking over the United States of America. And black people are only a tool to that end. So destroying the family, destroying religion, controlling the educational system, taking down the police, all of that is to ensure that 90% of the black vote go to them so they can achieve their ends. And their ends is to take over America so they can then take over the world. And people think this is hyperbole. I tell you, they've been planning this for years, for decades.
So why is there no Black Lives Matter response to these children being shot in Chicago and New York City and Atlanta? Why is there no outrage? I mean, just walk us through that, Vince.
Well, as I said again, the individuals possess no inherent value. They do not care about people. It's like slavery. It's like communism. It's like when Mao Zedong took over China and started doing took over the farms and made them all these large collectives and then enslaved the people to work on the farms. And as people died, they didn't care. Stalin did the same thing. They don't care about the people. They are concerned about their ends. So if the people die in the cities, that's irrelevant because their main goal is to get rid of the police. You saw what happened in these large cities. They took over. When their mobs came in and started ransacking the cities, what did the mayors tell them to do? They told the police to stand down so that the mobs could do what they wanted. This is part of a plan, and they've been doing this for the last 40, 50, 60 years. And we are witnessing the last chapter of a 50-year cultural genocide conducted by the Democrat Party in the black community. And they're going to do this all over America. Again, if you look at any communist state, look at what's going on in Venezuela right now. They don't care about these people starving to death. Look at what's going on in Cuba. They're still driving cars from the 1950s. Mm-hmm. Castro didn't care about those people. He didn't care about their economic plight. He was concerned about one thing, maintaining his power. Mm-hmm. And it didn't matter how many he had to kill. It didn't matter how much they suffered. His idea was power. Mm-hmm. And that's what you have here. Same thing. No difference whatsoever. As long as the Democrats remain in power, they're not going to change a thing. And they're going to come in like they've come in all over the world. They're going to take over like locusts. They're going to destroy all the institutions. And as long as they can stand on top and sit on top, they'll keep it that way. Very simple concept.
All right, I'm gonna play a clip here for you. I want to get your reaction to it, if you don't mind, Vince. This is Thomas Sowell yesterday saying that we're reaching the point now of no return. If Biden's elected, Democrats are going to control the two branches of Congress and the White House, which is exactly what you're alluding to, right? All this is about power. So let's get to Thomas Sowell cut 3. I want to get your reaction.
I want to know if you agree with me or not. You don't have to, obviously. I see the 1860 election and the 1864 election as the two most important elections in American history. And now I see 2020 as one of the most important elections in history, even apart from the candidates. We're talking about the 1776 project versus the 1619 project. And you can see where the Democrats have tied into the 1619 project, and many of the Republicans are trying to defend the founding in the 1776 project. Do you see it that way?
Well, what I see is that if the election goes to Biden, that there's a good chance that the Democrats will then control all the two branches of Congress and the White House. And considering the kinds of things that they're proposing, that could well be the point of no return for this country.
Yeah, that's why I consider this election different than a lot of elections. I mean, I feel like we're right on the edge.
All right, get your reaction to that, Vince.
Oh, well, yeah, he's exactly right. But I've been saying this for 20 years. I've told the Republican Party that there's low-hanging fruit in the black community if they would just go get it. But they haven't been in the black community for the last 30 years trying to compete, trying to win the hearts and minds of the people. As I said on the show the last time, 90% of any gig is just showing up. They don't show up. In the black community, you have two choices during the election year. You have a liberal and an ultra-liberal. You can go down into the community right now in all these 50 majority black districts, and you will find that of all of these 50 black congressmen that are running for re-election, I bet that the poor Republican running against them doesn't have a dime in the bank where these people are sitting on millions. The RNC, the NRCC has reaped the whirlwind. Not that we didn't have a good product to sell. Not that we weren't right. They would not sell it. They wouldn't go out there and do it. For some reason, and I can explain that to you later on because it's a long explanation. They decided to just allow the Democratic Party to control the black community. And as the Democratic Party destroyed it, they deflected and pointed at the Republicans, and Republicans had no defense because they weren't down there to defend themselves. Now we're reaping the whirlwind. And it's not too late. There is a tipping point. But they have to do what Donald Trump is doing and go down and talk to the people and explain what's going on. 85% of black people profess to be Christian. 85%. But 90 of the 85% vote for liberals that go against the very concept of Christianity. These people are talking about doing abortion up to the 9th month and having it paid for by the government. They pull God out of school. And they're teaching children that their gender is fluid and that they can choose to be boy, girl, or whatever. They destroyed the family in the black community, and everything we try to do to bring it back together, they undermine. They destroyed the whole economic base in the black community. They are anti-Christian, anti-God. They are a party of darkness, and ever since they've been around, from the 1800s up until now, they've always had to have a legal way to commit murder. From 1800 to 1860, it was slavery. From 1860 to 1865, it was a civil war. They killed almost 1 million Americans trying to keep their slaves. After that, they had Jim Crow. For 100 years, they violated the law. They violated the Constitution. They committed murder, rape, theft, just to maintain power in the South. After the Civil Rights Movement, they then had to do it through abortion, killing children in the womb. And when the children survived, the ones that survived, they placed them in schools that would not even educate them. And then once they destroyed their lives mentally, they put them in the penitentiary and locked them up in cages. This is a party of darkness. And we have not gone down there and explained to people exactly what's going on with them and why they are suffering the way they are suffering. They are proud of what they've done. Joe Biden has said he's proud of what he's done. And all your listeners, they need to get my book, Iron Triangle. It will explain all of it, but it'll also explain how we can stop it. We have to go down there and slap the black community and let them know who they are. All of these white people going out there bowing down, apologizing. Look, you can't earn forgiveness. It shouldn't be expected or wanted. All you can do is repent, and you repent to God. You don't repent to man. All of this flailing about and crying and talking about white supremacy and and that they have some type of privilege, white privilege here in America, that is foolishness. That is a myth. No one has privilege over me. And you need to look a person in the eye and ask them a question, are you Christian? If they say they am, then you ask them another question. How can you be a victim if you're an heir of Jesus Christ? And let them answer that. You're walking around talking about you're an heir of Jesus Christ, and he talks about forbearance. He talks about love. He talks about forgiveness. And you're burning down a building screaming, no justice, no peace. Mm-hmm. That's a contradiction. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work. So we need to just explain to them who they are. Mm-hmm. Explain to them that we're brothers and sisters in Christ. And we'll stop all of this foolishness. But since we don't talk to one another, it doesn't work. My book tells us how to do that.
You're on the John Fredericks Radio Network. We're with Vince Everett Ellison. He's the author of The Iron Triangle, inside the liberal Democrat plan to use race to divide Christians and America in their quest for power and how we can defeat them. So in 2016, Donald Trump got 8% of the black vote. That was way up from Romney, which was at the lowest, certainly up from McCain. No Barack Obama in the ballot, but he got 8%. A lot of talk early in the year before COVID-19 that he would get 12%, maybe 13%. I don't think that's going to happen now, but can he hit 10 or is it going to go south?
It's going to be higher than that. I can guarantee you black people understand what's going on. Black people aren't stupid. They understand what COVID-19 was, and they understand that Donald Trump didn't bring it over here. China did. And we're doing our best right now to get by it. It's something that nobody anticipated, something that no one had ever seen before. We have people in this country that are 100 years old, so they've never seen anything like this before. And he's dealing with people understand that you're supposed to hold a person accountable for the things that they do. Heck, if you can't control it, if you can't control a hurricane, you can't control the tornado. This was a plague, and right now we're doing our best with it, and they understand that Joe Biden and the Democrats are definitely people that you cannot put in charge. You have to look at what they've been doing over the past year. Riots in the city, cities are filled with crime, people dying, being murdered, dysfunction, institutions, dystopia, institutions being destroyed, dystopia all over the place. People recognize that conservatives and Republicans are usually pretty freaking happy. We don't do a lot of rioting and burning. We're satisfied in our lives for a reason. And that's because we want smaller government. Mm-hmm. I tell black people all the time when they say, when they ask me, why am I a conservative? It's very simple for me. I believe basically everything you guys believe. I believe government is the problem. You guys want to take the police and expand it. You guys want to take the government that you say is racist and expand it. I want to shrink it. And that's what I don't want these people educating my children. Mm-hmm. You do for some reason. You say they're racist and you want them educating your children. I don't want these people to have the power to grab their guns and come to my house and take my property. Mm-hmm. You say you don't want it either, but you vote for larger government so they have more control over your lives. When you make this argument to them, it makes sense to them.
Right.
So when I talk to the black community and I explain to them that Donald Trump is going to keep the illegals out, he's going to give you school choice, he's going to make sure that you can keep and bear arms so you can defend yourself against the people that you say are hunting you.
Right.
He's going to make sure Trump is pro-life. He's not going to allow the government to abort your children and your grandchildren. You know, people understand that, and they understand that Joe Biden is offering nothing. What's he offering? Higher taxes? I mean, of course not. I mean, Joe Biden is not offering anything. He's a walking dead man. He's a cadaver. and when he and Trump get on the stand together, he's going to eviscerate him, and it's going to be over with. Mm-hmm. So Trump is going to do well, and I want to tell your listeners, please don't panic. You can read all this stuff in the Post and listen to CNN all you want to. When Biden and Trump get up there and it's head-to-head, I have never missed a call on the election. The best candidate will always win. Always win. And when you go through history and you look at the two people head-to-head, we all know Barack Obama was better than Romney. He was better than John McCain. Reagan was better than Carter. Reagan was better than... So when you look at them head-to-head, it always comes out right. And believe me, right now, head-to-head, Biden doesn't have a prayer against Donald Trump.
So you're pretty confident that the Trump campaign is going to turn the corner, win this election, and you think you're going to get 10, 12, 13% of the black vote?
Yeah, when it comes down to it, when it becomes a binary vote between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, the people aren't going to take a chance on Joe Biden and all that crazy leftism and you know their policies on anti-God, not defending yourself, murdering children in the womb and outside of the womb. They're you know, a tree is known by the fruit it bears, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at the fruit of the Democrat Party, you look at where they have power, and the more power they have, the more terrible the place is.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at Chicago, Detroit, L.A., Memphis. When you look at the places where these people have absolute power, you see that they have the reverse Midas touch. They are terrible at governing. And that's all we have to do is do a comparison and contrast, if they're smart enough to do it. And people understand it. So, yeah, I have no doubt that Donald Trump's going to do it. He's going to talk straight to the black community. And this is why you see them flailing about like they're doing in the black communities, trying to really destroy the black people were doing pretty well under Donald Trump. They were getting jobs. Their businesses were coming up. The whole lot of the places they were living, the crime was going down. Democrats couldn't have that. They had to put them back on the plantation, man. And they've always done it that way. They've always done that. It's been their stick. I mean, I was born in the South. I saw it. I would see a black family make a little money and try to get off the plantation, and I would see white Democrats go and poison their mules so they couldn't plow their land. They had to get back on the plantation. I would see them refuse to sell them property so that they couldn't have their own, and they had to stay on the plantation. I would see them make sure that they would undermine and destroy black people to try to do better so that they cannot be a shining light to others in the community who would dare to try to come off of the plantation. This is what they do. And they have the iron triangle, most black preachers, most black politicians, and most black civic organizers to do the dirty work for them. They're their spies. They're their conduits. They're their killers.
Vince, how do you break the iron triangle that you're talking about?
First, you have to expose it. People did not know this thing really existed in the way that it did until I brought it out. As you know, I was born on a cotton plantation, and I worked in the prison system. And after I saw them locking up all of these black men, I decided to try to keep them from going to jail. So I went out into the community, started a nonprofit, and I found, that they had been lying to us about who the problem was. It wasn't rich white Republicans. It was black Democrats. Mm-hmm. And I saw the black preacher, the black civic organizer, and the black politician down in the black community making all kind of money, all kind of money from the chaos. Mm-hmm. So what do? You have to expose it. And once you expose it, then people know who the enemy is. See, you can't stop a disease or destroy it until you find out what's causing your sickness. Once you understand what's causing your sickness, then you can attack it. So this book is the first step. We have to put a name on it. You and I remember when the AIDS virus first came out, and we didn't understand what was killing all of these people. And Dr. Gallo finally said, there it is. It's HIV. He found the virus, and then we started attacking it. We've been told for the last 60 years, we've been told a lie about what's been killing us. We've been told it's rich white Republicans. No. Liberals, white liberals, and their henchmen, the Iron Triangle. And they are controlling the black community. And if we can break in and get 10% of that vote from them, Democrat Party's dead. And the Democrat Party knows it. This is why they're fighting so hard. So we expose it, and then we attack it. And that's what you and I are doing today. We're telling thousands of people about it. We're telling them to get the book, and the book will tell them, will explain to them how they can take them out by them going and talking to their friends in the Democrat Party and across the aisle, and that's how we defeat them. Information, power.
John Fredericks Radio Network, What a Time. Vince Everett, Ellison. Hey, Vince, stay on the line. You want to buy his book, The Iron Triangle, Inside the Liberal Democrat Plan to Use Race to Divide Christians and America in Their Quest for Power and How We Can Defeat Them. Vince Everett, 2 T's, Ellison.